Welcome PokeMoshPit. It is I, SourBawss, bringing you a competitive OU match today, which I had on the Smogon ladder against n0bchen, I believe. So this will be a PM match, so I hope you still enjoy regardless of it being not Wi-Fi or not, and that didn't even make any sense, and I've already taken too many takes, so I'm just going to roll with this. Looking at the team preview very quickly, I'm using a Hail team, as always, if people actually know me, and he's using a Sun team, so it's a really... Already I'm at a bit of a team disadvantage, as Hail usually automatically is at a disadvantage when faced against a Sun team. So my team building skills are going to be put to the test right now. So big threats really are the Heatran, which puts a huge dent into my ice types, as well as the Dragonite could be a huge problem if my Bronzong and Heatran have gone down, and depending if it has Earthquake or Fire Punch. So also the Donphan could be posed a big threat, since it does knock out Heatran and Tentacle for massive damage. If the sun is up, it can take those scalds like nothing. And there's also Tangrowth. If I lose the Weather Wall, then that thing could be a huge problem. But the key thing that comes to mind here is the Cresselia. And look at his team, is quite... Look at the team, it looks like to be a dual screener, so I can take advantage of that and have my game plan of Spike stacking with Frostlass, as well as get out some Toxic Spikes with my Tentacle, as he doesn't have a Poison type on his team. And then if I do win the Weather Wall, Walrein could pretty much set up and stall his entire team out, seeing as I do pack the Surf instead of Blizzard, seeing as Surf has more PP than Blizzard. So I'm just going to lead with my Frostlass, predicting him to lead up with the Cresselia so that he can get up his screens as quickly as possible. So with that being said, let's get on with the show. I am going to predict correctly, as he does lead off with his Cresselia. I'm going to opt to lead with my Frostlass. He's going to switch out fearing my taunt, as I'm just going to go for a substitute as he brings his Heatran. So now I'm just going to go for a layer of spikes, but he actually outspeeds me and goes for the Fire Blast. So that tells me that this Pokemon Heatran is Choice Scarf, which will be key information later on. So I've quite a few guys with Protect, so this will be I'll be able to easily predict quite well against this Heatran, as I'm going to switch out into my own Heatran, knowing that he's locked into Fire Blast, but he predicts that quite nicely. He goes to Cresselia and starts to get his screen up. Now here I thought he couldn't touch me, as I was thinking that it was going to be Dual Screens, Moonlight and HP Fire, but he turns out to have Ice Beam, which is unfortunate as I lose my Balloon. But in any case, I'm going to roar him out into his Dragonite, and I'm going to just switch out into my Bronzong, predicting the Earthquake, as he switched out into his Ninetales just to get the sun up. So that was a good play on his part again, so now he's got the weather advantage. And I see he's the Leftovers variant, so I'm not sure, he could be still the Sunny Day variant, but in any case, I'm just going to switch out into my Heatran, but he brings in his Donphan, which is unfortunate, so he was predicting that. But now I know, because Stealth Rocks and Spikes are up on his side of the field, he will go for that Rapid Spin, and I will be able to just go for a Fire Blast, not fearing his Heatran to come in. But now I know his Heatran is going to come in, and I'm going to go right for that Earth Power and get a nice chunk. But because Light Screen is still active, he will be able to live that, as I'm going to switch out into my own Tentacle, thinking that he would lock himself into Fire Blast, because my sits was very obvious, and I've got a Levitator and a Grass type, as I get 2 hit KO'd, since I thought he'd predict my or switch out again, but that's not the case. He goes for the Earth Power, and unfortunately I lose my Tentacle, but that's fine. I'm just going to go into my Abomasnow, get up that Hail, and double switch out into my Heatran so I can get my Rocks up once again, as he's going to opt to go for the dual screens, which is fine, because he can set up all the screens that he wants, but I am more of a defensive player. Anyone that knows me, I love to have my entry hazards up on the field, so I'm just going to attack you indirectly, as I'm just going to try and get as many spikes as possible, seeing as that Donphan could Rapid Spin them away, but as long as I get a few more hazards, then he should die upon entry, hopefully, as I'm just going to set up a substitute, knowing that he probably just switch out again, so I can just have a free sub and take any of his fire type moves. But here the Ninetales comes in and he shows me substitutes, so now I'm thinking, okay, so he possibly isn't a Sunny Day variant with Solar Beam, as he goes for the Flamethrower, as I get my second layer of spikes up. So now I'm just going to switch out into my own Heatran, so that I can just take the Fire move, seeing as Ninetales can't touch Heatran at all unless it has HP Ground, and even that, or HP Fighting, and even that is just like not doing anything. But he goes for the raw, so he has raw, substitute, flamethrower, and also possibly a status, hopefully Will-O-Wisp and not toxic. As he keeps going for these raws, as I keep switching out into my Heatran. Thankfully Stealth Rocks isn't up, I haven't given him a chance to set up the Stealth Rocks, so I'm quite happy just to keep going into my Heatran, seeing as one of these turns he is going to make a misplay and go for a flamethrower. But now he goes for the raw again, but I also pack the raw as he's already seen, as thanks to his roaring shenanigans, he is going to waste his own screens, as I'm going to bring in my Bronzong as he goes for that outrage. That does a hefty amount, he must have got max damage on that outrage, as it is probably the DD Lumberry variants, as I'm just going to take those with my Bronzong and KO him with an HP Ice. So turn 23 and something's finally died. But anyway, the Donphan does come in, he barely lives with 3% of his health, so I'm going to switch out into my spin blocker, but he makes a great play and goes for the Earthquake, knowing that I will switch into my Frostlass. As I'm just going to go for Blizzards, even though Hail isn't up, I do actually hit, which is quite surprising. And I'm able to knock that thing out, so now my hazards are here to stay, as he brings in his Tangrowth. So now I'm just going to switch out into my Bronzong, thinking that he'll probably just Death Fodder, but he just goes for the HP Fire, and he does have the Life Orb, so now that I know he's Life Orb, I can hopefully stall this thing out. That's really the only thing I can do, seeing as Tentacruel is out of the picture. If he did have Giga Drain, then I could have stalled him out, since I did pack the Liquid Ooze on this variant, as I'm just going to go for a Protect, get some leftovers recovery, and switch out to my Heatran, take that HP Fire like it was nothing, because I do have the Flash Fire boost. But here I figured he did have the Earthquake, but I'd figure he might also go for the HP Fire again, but that does not happen. I make the bad play and not switch out to my Bronzong and then try that again. But here I'm going to bring in my Abomasnow just to get the Hail up, so I can wear him down even further with Hail and Life Orb damage, as I am just going to go for that Protect just to get some more Hail damage off. And I'm just going to sack my own Bronzong as he goes for the Sleep Powder, so that's fine, seeing as he's going to waste even more turns, seeing as now that he's at 36% health. As I just go for the Protect, even though I do have one turn of sleep, as he's just going to go for that HP Fire. With Life Orb, he's at 26%, and then at Hail, 20%. So here I'm just going to go for another Protect once again, just to get some more damage, seeing as Tangrowth is very bulky on the physically defensive side, great HP and great defense despite not being invested in it. Just so I can be safe and just to bring him in range, just so that Ice Shard will be able to kill him off. So 3 Pokemon on each side, he has Ninetales, Cresselia and Heatran, and I've got my Abomasnow, Frostlass and my Walrein. As he does bring his Ninetales now, because of this I have won the Weather War, so I'm just going to sack my Frostlass, just so I can reset the weather. So I'm going to dive from a Flamethrower and then bring back my Abomasnow, just so that my Hail is here to stay for the rest of the match. Even though it's winding down now, as I'm just going to sack my Abomasnow once again, just to get the tiniest bit of damage on this Ninetales. Even though its defenses are piss-poor, it does still resist. As the Abomasnow does go down, but finally the weather conditions are in my favour. I could bring in my Walrein, the big Storain, if anyone's ever played this thing in Gen 4. Oh my goodness. And even still, it's a brilliant Pokemon in Hail. It can be a real annoyance. As he does go for that Will-O-Wisp, so he does have a Assassin move. But thankfully it was just the Will-O-Wisp and not the Toxic. And I think I just repeated myself with it, so that was redundant. I'm just going to go for that Surf again. Like I said before in the beginning, I do pack Surf over Blizzard because it has more power points and it hits the Steel types, which may resist. So now I can just freely stall this Cresselia out with the Toxic and then kill off the Heatran with a Surf. So that is pretty much the game right now, guys. So yeah, this was a very fun game. I enjoyed this match a lot. I mean, I was at the disadvantage at the start of the game. Well, on paper I should really have a disadvantage, but with enough team building and a few careful predictions, you can pretty much do anything. Wow, I think I just gave you a moral. Well, okay, enough of this, enough of my rambling. So good game, n0bchen. He doesn't have a YouTube channel because I don't know, this was on the ladder, but my channel is in the description if you do want to subscribe for more. And as always, subscribe to the PokeMoshPit And yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the other side.